What up, what up? Happy Friday and welcome to the Faith Unbuttoned Podcast. I'm your host, Pastor K. We are an extension of Never Alone Christian Center, a virtual ministry my wife and I, Miss Chiffon Wiley, launched out summer of 2021. Once again, we thank you for your continued support of not only Never Alone Christian Center, but as well as the Faith Unbuttoned Podcast. Make sure you visit our website at neveralonecc.org. Visit our YouTube channel as well at Never Alone Christian Center. Please subscribe. Turn on those notifications that you may stay connected with everything that's going on at NAC, as well as the Faith Unbuttoned Podcast and anything else that's taking place. We house it there on YouTube as well as our website and Instagram as well as Facebook. All right. With that said, I certainly hope that you have had a marvelous week. I'm always excited about Friday 1. For me personally, it represents the end of my work week in my secular job. Obviously, the ministry and the podcast, and that never stops. But I'm always thankful that God has brought me through another week and has blessed me and my family, and I'm thankful for you as my listener. And I thank you guys for continuing to stream and continuing to encourage not only myself, but as well as the ministry and the podcast and everything else that we are attached to. All right. Well, before we dive into our topic that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks on relationship accountability, I would be remiss not to address the Rittenhouse case that was a decision that was made in a court today in our country. I didn't follow the case extensively, but based upon what I know, in my opinion, I am not in agreement what has taken place with the decision. But I do understand that the court system is in place, but I also understand that racism is still real, well and alive in our country. But I understand that these type of situations, because I don't dive into a lot of politics and a lot of civil movements and things of that nature. I try to stick to the gospel, if you will, of Jesus Christ. But I have to speak upon situations that will affect or can affect our community. So what I would say is be wise in your conversation before you post a lot of posts or however you decide to vent. Just be wise in what you say and how you say it, because everything comes back to bite us in some shape, form, or fashion. And social media is a way to vent and a way to speak. But just be wise, be cautious. Keep in mind you have a job and you're in school, and sometimes we just say stuff out of anger. So with wisdom, I suggest just be wise in what we say and how we respond and how we act. But it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry, and it's okay to desire and push toward change when certain circumstances like this take place. All right. And that's what I'm going to say on that. And obviously, from my perspective, yes, I'm going to say pray, but also I'm a realist. Okay. We have to do better. Not only for us, but for our children. We have to do better. We have to do something to change the format that is affecting our justice system in so many ways for so many years. And honestly, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, I think most of us are just tired of the lack of equality or the perception of a lack of equality in our system. Okay, so let's jump back into this topic. Last week, we didn't have a podcast, so I took a little break. I had some things going on in my personal life, but we're back at it. And we started for about 4 different topics or 4 different podcasts that were posted. We begin this topic on relationship accountability. And tonight I want to bring it to a little wrap up or a little close here. Now, if you missed the previous 3 other podcasts, I believe there are 3 other ones on the relationship accountability, just visit the YouTube channel, the Never Alone Christian Center, or click on the link in our bio, wherever you are grabbing this, and grab the other podcast so that you can put all this together, because the podcast is not that long and it's hard to review all the information. It's unfair for those who stream it. So we started this topic on relationship accountability. Why? Because so many people are desiring to have relationships, to have a marriage, to be with someone, but they want accountability. Excuse me. Everybody is seeking accountability. The wife to be accountable for her actions, the husband to be accountable if you're dating. We want accountability. And throughout the course of this particular topic, I address many things when it comes to accountability. And one of the main things I wanted to make clear that it is a lazy mentality to get involved in a relationship and not be accountable for your actions. We said that relationships are based upon 4 basic structures. A relationship is volunteer. It's a volunteer option that we have in life to get involved in a relationship. Hopefully no one has forced you into a relationship. Therefore, since it's a volunteer option that we have in life, to be void of accountability and not be accountable is just lazy, because we have chosen to be in our marriage. We've chosen to be in this relationship. We also said the relationship should be built on trust, it should be built on respect, and it should be built on love. And we put those in that particular order because in order to love someone, in my opinion, I believe you must first respect them and you must first trust them. Because my love grows as I respect and trust you, and I grow in my love towards my wife or your significant other. Okay? So we left off with how to increase the relationship accountability. How can we increase our relationship accountability? And we looked at 7 different items, okay? And we looked at, we looked at 6 of those, or 5, and we're going to pick up on 6 and 7 tonight. And just briefly, I'm not going to explain them again, but we looked at increasing the relationship accountability. There has to be a level of appreciation. We said we have to appreciate our spouse. We have to appreciate our relationship. Then we said we have to prioritize. We have to prioritize our relationship. Ladies, are you his priority? Fellas, is she your priority? Fellas, are you her priority? We have to be honest with ourselves. And then we said we have to go from more action and less lip service. We have to produce more action and less lip service. And we said we have to reinforce stability within the relationship. And we also said we have to consider having outside friendships, couples that are like-minded. And last week we left off with intimacy. And that's where we want to start tonight. Intimacy. Now, keep in mind, if you ever have any questions, concerns, or you just want to reach out and you want to ask deeper questions or further questions, drop me a DM, drop it on any of the Instagram or any of the emails or on the website, and we will get back to you. I will get back to you, or my wife will get back to you. All right? So to increase the relationship accountability, there has to be intimacy. One reason so many relationships are failing or have failed is a lack of intimacy. Where does your spouse value intimacy? Do you know? Have you talked to your spouse about intimacy? I tell you guys all the time, my wife and I, we're approaching 15 years of marriage. We talk about everything. Even the things that we may not even want to talk about, we talk about them. Why? Because we are transparent with one another. We want to be clear with one another. And intimacy is one of those conversations that we talk about. Okay? Why is that? Because I have levels of intimacy that I desire. She has levels of intimacy that she desires. And it would be foolish not to talk about that with one another, because I want to keep her happy and she wants to keep me happy. Why are we in a relationship And we don't want to talk about things such as intimacy, and then we get mad when our girl or our man cheats on us, or is fooling around, or doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, or in somebody else's DM, or talking to people they shouldn't be talking to, because they don't have any accountability. But they upset because the intimacy in the relationship is nil, because we haven't had any conversation about it. Do you prefer arranged sex or spontaneous sex? What do you prefer? Based upon how you guys' schedule may be, how you guys may work. Me personally, I can't say no one. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of arranged sex. Well, hon, this is our schedule this week. Can we try to be intimate maybe on Saturday or Sunday? Or can we try to... I'm not a big fan of that. But my wife and I sometimes have busy schedules, and sometimes we have to structure our sexual life around our lives. Okay? So, but that's a conversation that has to be had. If you're into spontaneous sex and your partner's into arranged sex, and there's no connection there, then we have a problem. And now the accountability goes out the door because no one is talking to one another. It sounds so simple sometimes, just talking. But do you know how many relationships, marriages, have very little communication outside of the day-to-day operation of the household? This is what we have to do for the children. This is what I got to do for work. This is where we're planning on vacation. This is what I have to do this evening. I got to cut the grass. I got to clean the house. I got to do this. I got to do that. No other conversation. Nothing outside of business. This is a relationship. This is marriage. Now, don't get me wrong. You get busy sometimes. And sometimes the conversations are centered around business. But we cannot neglect intimacy if we want to increase accountability. Holding hands, kissing, date night. All of these things fall under the scope of intimacy. So let me ask you this. When was the last time that you had a real conversation with your spouse about intimacy? I'm just going to pause there for a second because I want you to think. When was the last time that you had a serious conversation about intimacy? Now, if that's not an area that you guys struggle in, well, praise be unto the Lord. But a lot of people struggle in that area, and it hurts the accountability because there's no conversation taking place. Have those conversations. Have those talks. Because I hope you as a wife want to keep your husband happy. And I hope that you as a husband want to keep your wife happy. You got to talk about it. Intimacy. Good intimacy, quality intimacy, keeps the accountability in the relationship. It increases the accountability. Because if we're both happy, then we want to be faithful. We want to stay on course. We want to protect their emotions. We want to protect we want to encourage them in whatever they do. Why? Because we're happy. I look forward to being happy with my wife. I look forward to coming home because why? When I get home, I am happy to be here. I'm not staying at work late because I'm not trying to come home. All right, that's number 6. Let's look at number 7 here. All right. Now I want you guys, if you're just streaming the podcast, cool. Thank you for tapping in. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Because I always want to be transparent with the faith, and I want to keep it 100 with you. But nothing matters to me than families and relationships and marriages, because I want people to be happy in their households. All right. Go back and stream the other podcasts if you missed them. Listen, number 7. All right. And if you just joined, what we're talking about here is relationship accountability. And what we have been discussing for the last 2 podcasts is how to increase the relationship accountability. All right. There's been a funny, I think it's a TikTok or a funny one of the little videos going on social media where the husband and the wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever the case may be, are in bed together. And the husband reaches over, kisses his wife on the forehead, turns the lamp off, lays down, picks up his phone, And when he picks up his phone, in the shadow of the light of the phone, you see his wife looking at the phone. They turn the light back on, and then she lays back down. And he looks over like, is she looking over my shoulder? He does it again, and she's like right there. And then he looks back, and then he thinks he's going crazy. You don't want to live like that. Now I know it's a funny little meme or funny skit on TikTok or whatnot. But you don't want to feel like every time you pick your phone up or your tablet up or your watch up or whatever, that your girl or your man is over your shoulder because they don't trust you. There's no accountability. That's miserable. My phone can sit on the nightstand all night. And if my wife wants to go through everything in there, go for it. Can you do that? Oh, no, that's my private space. There's no privacy when you get married. Not that type of privacy. What you hiding? That's for another day. Okay? Relationship accountability. Number 7. Listen, we have to put in the work. That's number 7. Put in the work. Put in the work if you want relationship accountability. If you want to increase the accountability, you got to put in the work. There's no magic, but it's a method. I say it all the time. Practice daily at staying committed and submitted to the one you say you love. After all, you said you loved her or love her. You said you loved him. So practice what you have said. Practice it. Practice the love that you said you have for your spouse. Practice it. This increases accountability. If we don't practice the love that we say we have, how will it increase? Keep in mind, relationships and marriage are voluntary, as we said. So you voluntarily got into this marriage. You voluntarily got into the relationship. Now you have to start practicing what you have volunteered for. You signed up for it. Don't quit on it because your partner ain't dropping trump cards like maybe they were in the beginning. You signed up for it. I signed up for it. Got down on both knees and said, "Hun, will you marry me?" She said yes. So now I am required to be accountable to her. Don't get in line if you're not ready for the ride of a lifetime. Don't get in line. If you're single, divorced, widowed, whatever the case may be, don't get in line or don't get back in line if you're not ready to be accountable. Why waste time or waste your time, waste the time of someone else in a relationship, in a marriage, if you don't even want to be committed or accountable? Well, Pastor K, you don't understand. When we first got married, it was X, Y, and Z. Everything was popping. But now we've been married for a while and she don't do this or he don't do that. And well, now we got children and we don't get to travel like we used to travel before kids. Or well, now the money look funny because things are a little tight. Or I wanted to buy a house, but now we can't buy a house. All of this stuff, you know what these are? Excuses. We got in line and said, I want to be married. I want to be in a relationship. I want to be committed. I want to do this. Now you in line. You've been riding the roller coaster for a little while. You've been riding for a little bit. And now it's like, oh, I'm tired of the ride. Well, you should have never got in line. Because now it's just so easy. Well, I just want a divorce. I just want a separation. People just lining up. Separation, divorce. In the church, out the church. Don't give me that church stuff. People in church getting divorced just as much as they are in the world. So I don't even want to hear that. Just go grab another wife. I'm going to grab me another husband. Well, we got married for the wrong reason. I want something new. No accountability. Okay. Listen, my final thought. Earlier this week, I posted a quote about marriage. And I said, when we stop serving our spouse out of obligation, but we see it as an opportunity God has given us to experience love. I believe marriage is God's love. And when we begin to serve our spouse, not because we have to, not out of obligation, but when we begin to serve them because we want to serve them because we love them, I believe that's when we begin to experience the depth of marriage. Because it helps us understand, or we begin to realize that God has given me an opportunity to love this queen or to love this king. So because God gave me this opportunity, I'm going to be accountable to the relationship. I'm going to do my part for the relationship. Why? Because I'm not doing it, not only because it's my obligation, but I'm doing it because I've been given an opportunity for love. And I don't want to squander it. Listen, guys, thank you for streaming the Faith Unbuttoned podcast. I love you guys. Have a good weekend. Don't forget to tap in with us on Sunday as we stream our Sunday teaching. When God says no, we're getting ready to come to a close on that particular series. But when it comes to this relationship accountability, guys, just stay focused on what you're doing. Stay focused on what you're doing in your relationship. And I believe that whatever growth you want to achieve in your relationship, you can achieve it. It takes two. Wife can't do it by herself. Husband can't do it by himself. It takes two. Talk to your spouse. After all, we say we love them. I'll see y'all next week. Let's go.